go over the agenda, take roll call, and then we start from there.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the El Subcommittee Municipal Advisory Council Cleanup and Beautification Subcommittee meeting on Tuesday, March 14th, 2023. This is our first subcommittee meeting of 23, and so we thought we'd start off this meeting with talking about what we want to do in 2023. I'll go over the agenda after we take a roll call. Okay, this is I'm Mickey Norris.
So we have Mickey Norris.
I'm Sue
Boudreau, and it seems that we don't have a Dr. Melinda McLean. So since we have 2 out of 3, we have a quorum.
Okay.
Yep.
So we've got a quorum. So this meeting is being recorded, so I guess people can look at it when they want. So I just wanted to, let's go over the agenda. The first item is an overview of our efforts. So basically, the subcommittee is a subcommittee of the El Subcommittee Municipal Advisory Council, but we accomplished most of our work with the El Subcommittee 948 Green Team. So what we've been able to do with that is we set up monthly third Saturday cleanups, and we've been getting anywhere from 15 to about 38 people at our cleanups, which is very good. And this coming Saturday, March 18th, is a third Saturday cleanup, but this one is going to be in conjunction with a statewide effort by Clean California, the Department of Transportation's Clean California effort, Community Days. They've set aside 10 days from March 17th to the 27th, and asking communities all over the state to clean up their communities, pick up litter, beautify it, plant things, different kinds of things. And I have a flyer that I brought in case you want to see a little bit more about what Clean California is and what they're hoping to accomplish with this effort. And I believe they've got, a multi-million-dollar fund set aside for cleanup efforts. And they do have a website, and hopefully you can check out the website and for more information about the Clean California thing is. But since we are already doing it, we decided just to dedicate this Clean California, this cleanup third Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. meeting here at the library. We have equipment. We've got grabbers, vests, bags, buckets, gloves, different things for to make it easy for people to help us clean up. And we fan out into different parts of the community to target an area that needs some cleaning up, that needs some attention. Because our goal is to make El Subcommittee clean and beautiful, or to keep it clean and beautiful, because congratulations to and thanks to our wonderful green team, we are making a difference in our community, and it's a lot cleaner than it was a couple of years ago, and keeps getting cleaner. So that's because we have people in our area that care enough to help take care of our community here. In addition, on April 22nd, we are going to have a major Earth Day cleanup event. So for April, where we normally have a third Saturday cleanup, we are moving that one to the fourth Saturday, which is Earth Day. So no third Saturday cleanup in April, but we will have a major cleanup on Earth Day, and which is April 22nd. We meet here at the library at 9:30 to sign in and get your equipment, pick a location either in the streets or the creeks, because we're doing this in conjunction with spawners who keep an eye on all our creeks here. They are also going to be doing a little gardening and landscaping project here at the library that day as well. So if people are interested in participating in that, they can. We have flyers and we're going to get banners made for our cleanup. And that our flyers, hopefully, people can put them around town, get them out there, drum up support for our Earth Day event. Then in September, we are going to participate once again in the El Sobrante Stroll. Last year, we had a wonderful turnout despite being rained on pretty intensively at times. But we participated in the parade and we got recognition by the stroll committee as having outstanding spirit. Woo!
That's a shiny song.
We tried. We had a great, it was really fun in the parade. And this year, I believe it's September 17th. I'm not 100% sure on the date, but it's the third Saturday of September.
Sunday.
Third Sunday, sorry. And the third Saturday is the National Coastal Cleanup Day. So we're going to participate in that and do another major event, kind of maybe similar to Earth Day. We'll have to talk about that, see what we're up for. But maybe we don't need to have as much of a major event if we're going to be in the stroll the next day too and have a booth. But we'll talk about that, I guess, closer to the event in September. So we've got two things in September, the stroll and the cleanup day. We've also developed postcards for the community about our third Saturday cleanup efforts, inviting people to participate, always at here, stage from the library, 10 to noon. Sorry about that, but back to the Earth Day. We are going to have a major cleanup from 9:30 till noon, but then we're going to have a good program here at the library we're excited about, where the library will have book displays about Earth Day related topics. They're going to unveil an origami art installation, and there's going to be lots of info tables of interest to our community. We'll have some food for our volunteers, and we'll gladly thank them for their efforts of helping to pick up litter here. We're going to have a room of children's activities here in the library, led by Sue Lugo and Maddie Kinspel. And we're going to bring your kids, and then we'll have some entertainment, and I think we'll have reach out mode. We'll do a dance performance. We may get a jujitsu performance by the kids at the local jujitsu club. But we're going to have demos for the electric vehicles and also electric bikes. And we'll have some speakers, and we'll have some music. It's going to be a lot of fun. So keep an eye out for that. And you can always go to keepelsbrontebeautiful.info for more information about Earth Day and all of our activities. Back to the postcard, on the other side of the postcard, our list it's a guide to help our community figure out what to do with all your stuff that you want to get rid of. So it has info about the recycling center, that what we're entitled to with the public services, which is, bulky item pickups and 2 mega 15 bags of garbage pickups a year that you can arrange for free with Republic Services if you're cleaning up your homes or the garages or whatever. Mattress drop-offs, you can drop off 3 mattresses or box springs a month for free at Bye Bye Mattress. Get rid of your hazardous El Cerrito Recycling Center. And anyway, it's got different information on this, so I'm hoping that you will grab one of these postcards when you see it, or ask us how to get them, and we'll get them to you. And then we also have some stickers and colorings and different things. So, anybody have any questions or comments that you'd like to add to our overview of what we've been able to accomplish?
The dumpster days, is that something you're going to talk about next?
No, but we can.
So do we know yet when those dumpster days will be, or is that TBA?
TBA.
Okay,
Yeah, we don't have.
and do we have any sense of how many there will be? Edgar, do you have a sense of that?
Which dumpster days?
For this upcoming year?
Like how many we have in general or
Yeah.
for like a specific day? We have 16 in total for the entire district. And allocated to El Sobrante. I have that number. Let me look it up. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can remember. I have that number. Let me get it and I'll give it to you right now. But we have 16 allocated for the entire
Okay, so, and a dumpster day is when the residents of the area can come in and drop off and dump stuff they want to get rid of. Not just stuff they pick up on the streets or find and dump. So hopefully we'll have a couple of those this year, plus a metal recycling dumpster at our disposal at some point as well, but we'll let you know probably through Supervisor Joy's newsletter. Because they're supportive of what we do. Any other comments or questions?
Are we talking about the schedule?
No, we're talking about, this is just an overview of our cleanup efforts. If I provide anything, I just want to also give a shout out to SOS Richmond, the nonprofit that services the homeless encampments in the area. And they've been a big support on our third Saturday cleanups. They're going to be a partner as well with us on our Earth Day event coming up in April. So we're always excited to have their participation. Okay, all right. So if there's no other questions or comments.
The comment, the metal was idea of Sohela, not John.
Yeah, but
Because of
She was the one-
contacted since.
yeah, she was trying to coordinate between Richmond and the unincorporated
Right.
area, but
Area.
basically it's Supervisor Joy's office that's gonna be arranging these for us too. Because we want to, it gets complicated with the dumpster days and in terms of who really qualifies, and we don't want to have to look up who's a. Yeah,
And I think the overall objective is to try to have dumpster days on the same days as Richmond, because as you know, from these incredibly complicated maps, it's impossible for us to gatekeep. We could possibly keep 94803, but some people in 94803 are past Richmond.
right,
So
yeah,
it makes sense if we possibly can.
yeah, so it'll be a zip code. Dependent,
Yeah.
and there's people in the 94803 area, because we've got 94803 Thrive. And we'll all be able to use those dumpsters when those days are scheduled, and we'll let you know.
John, could you give, I want to put, I'm just taking some minute, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Um,
I have the I just pulled up the document.
oh, great.
So we're allocated 16 dumpsters that are 20-yard dumpsters, and that's going to be split for the entire district. El Sobrante has 5 dumpsters that I was able to allocate, which is the max that a community can have. And the ones that we have are for the coastal cleanup day and for a dumpster day that can be used any day or we can organize at any time throughout the year.
And so this is 5 times 20 cubic yard dumpsters.
Yeah.
One of those allocated for cleanup, for coastal cleanup,
Yes.
okay, and then four for other times during the year.
Yeah, and we've used some, for example, I have here how we used them last year. We used, and the 20 yarders, we've used 40 yarders, but that takes up 2 of our 20 yarders.
Mhm.
So last year for the coastal cleanup day, we used 140 yarder. We used, just 140 yarder, and then in November, we used for the dumpster day in November, we used 120 yarder and a 40 yarder. So the 2 40 yarders, one coastal cleanup, and then one in November that equals 4 20 yarders, and then we had an additional 20 yarder in November. So that's how we used our 5 20-yard dumpsters.
So it was a November, so we did it in November last year.
Mhm.
Okay.
And let's see, this year I created a draft of how we can use our 5 20 yarders a little bit differently. So I have, and this is just a draft, but this is how we can use them. I feel like we can spread them out a little bit more. I have a community dumpster day with 120 yarder for Earth Day. Right, that's the 20 yarder we already have allocated for Earth Day. And then we have the coastal cleanup for the green team, which will be another 20 yarder dumpster day. Last year we had a 40 yarder. This year we're going to use 20 yarder because we're splitting it for the Earth Day dumpster day. And then we have our end of the year November dumpster day, which is going to be a 40 yarder dumpster day. And that still leaves us one more 20-yard dumpster. And I think that's the one that I have allocated right now with the city of Richmond for whenever they have their metal dump day. And I can give a little overview on that metal dumpster day if you guys want me to.
Yeah, sure.
So as it was mentioned, so Hala contacted Supervisor Joyce's office and asked if we can assist with a metal dumpster day. And it was kind of informal. And there was a date that was already set. It was April 15th. I'm not available personally. I'm not available on April 15th, but our response was that someone from our office might be able to make it if I can make it. And it seems that a lot of the details were up in the air. So we met with Sohaila and we talked about, organizing these kind of events, given that we're more experienced. And Sohaila agreed that maybe we should spearhead it since we know more how to organize it and we have more experience, and she'll support us and she'll provide the metal dumpsters. And we thought it'll be better if we're able to have both a trash dumpster there and a metal dumpster for folks can come and just dump everything that they need, that they have there, and it'll be a one-stop shop. And it'll be for all of the 94803 residents.
When?
So the day still to be determined, and that's because it was previously April 15th, but that's a day that was, I'm not sure how that day came about.
It's hard.
Yeah, we dropped that day.
Right, so we dropped that day, and we were hoping that discussion can be held today of what's a good time for, because it's up to you folks. Well, when do you guys want to do the dumpster day?
Well, our experience for the last dumpster day was that it was crazy and there would be more space. And it would have been, I think it sounds in many ways like we might do better to have a similar event where we have 2 120-yard, 1 40-yard dumpster and the metal all at the same time at the same place, rather than spreading it out through the year. What do you guys think?
Well, I also have an opinion about that as far as how, I think that's a great idea. But somebody needs to oversee, like, we're gonna do this dumpster about where it goes, because that was an awful mess last year. It wasn't, we did not have that organized in a way.
We could spray paint where we want.
Well, I really think we could use more of the moves parking, if we could get permission to do that, because it was just too cramped.
It was cramped, wasn't it?
And it just took forever for everybody to get out of the way and for, you know.
So can we, maybe, if we first agree on a date and when, if we're going to have all of that happening, then we could absolutely, we should talk about that to plan it better for next time.
I understood this last time that nobody was there supervising, they just put it pretty much through,
Right.
and that just, I mean, it was nice. It was nice.
I agree, I'd rather have more dumpsters on fewer days, and
Yes.
just consolidated.
Because otherwise it's
Because-
because work for us.
And there's so too many people that were turned away.
There were a lot of frustrated people, right? And I think that for people to feel like genuinely grateful, I think that would be wonderful. I don't suppose there's any way to do hazmats at the same time. I think that there have been hazmat days in the past.
I can ask,
Because
I don't-
there's a
yeah.
big drive-through thing that happens about once a year or so.
I can, so the thing is that, I can ask, the way that it works is that Republic Services tells us like, these are the dumpsters that we have as part of your allocation. And if there's a hazmat, dumpster that we can use, then, yeah, we'll request it. I just have to see if that's something that they have, because they're the ones who give
It's
us.
just an idea, but
Yeah.
I just love the idea of a one-stop shop.
Yeah,
Because otherwise people tend to throw hazmats into the normal dump.
right. Yeah, let me take note of that. And I'll ask.
Okay, thank you. Very
Mhm.
good.
It's just me, like, we've got Earth Day in April, you've got, the Coastal Cleanup in September, then November's, we have, Dump Day, Cup Day for the end of the year, so it really seems like the obvious month to me, is with, because I don't think we get that much people on, January's, before the summer, basically, between April.
When he's asking that we do.
So I have a.
Yeah, I think that maybe like June, I think it's good, because I don't think we need that many people on the day of service in January. You know, only the dump for the fact that if you could be. arranged.
I thought we should have done the dumps today, but I'm not mistaken.
I have a question.
Only one updating thing to, you know, I thought what was the one was.
We're talking about having more dumpsters and maybe consolidating it, because last time we had fewer dumpsters and turned away a lot of people, so.
And so by coordinating with Richmond, you get the double up on the number.
So we're getting their metal dumpster. So it's not a trash dumpster.
Right.
But now we were talking about April, now you're pushing out to November.
I thought that that's what we did last year.
Yeah, there was a November.
We were thinking
Yeah.
about just having one, but a big one. Maybe in November. I mean,
Okay.
I don't mind doing it in June, although.
We're
November
not
seems
gonna
like,
be, we're not gonna be here for a good part of June, so.
well, neither am I.
Edgar, I have a
So
question.
not June.
Well, yeah, April, September, November, that's fine.
Mhm.
I thought if we had November was, I thought we were talking about 2 dump days.
Who's in charge of, why we use the Moose Lodge and who's the contact person there? Is that something John does for us or?
With the Moose Lodge.
Because the problem the last time was that they had an event and. they were
Right.
services, so we need to coordinate their time before we can pick a date as far as.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, we can ask the Moose Lodge. I can ask them when is their next, like, when's a weekend that they're not hosting any events for they can hold that weekend for us.
That would be ideal.
Okay, so I can do that if you guys want to not pick a date, or if you guys have any dates in mind, I can propose those
I'd say maybe October.
in October.
The fire season runs. It's either raining or snowing.
I mean, yeah, we can't predict any of
That's
that.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, so in November and October, we have we want to do it on Saturday, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Or we want to do it on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday is nice because people can get their stuff together. And then Sunday they can
Yeah.
bring it, otherwise people, and I know I had quite a few people I chatted to who had spent a fair amount of effort getting all their stuff together, and then we turn them away and they're like,
It doesn't matter to you, Edgar, does it, if we do
is
it
it
on
Saturday?
Saturday?
Okay,
Sundays.
I think Sunday is great.
I, what you said, I love that.
Yeah, so we could do it, Columbus Day is the 9th, the second weekend.
Again, we want to coordinate with the Moose Lodge, so.
Yeah, but we want to pick a date.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 21st is our normal cleanup day for October. Would we probably not want to do it on that day, I think, because we tried, that was awful last time.
Yeah.
So the 20th, how about we could do October 29th, which is getting closer to Halloween. And
Yeah.
of course, people have a lot of rubbish to throw away after Halloween.
Well, maybe the first weekend in November.
So the first weekend in November is the 5th Thursday, like saving time. Happening on the day. I don't know if that makes any difference. So do we want to do on November the 5th? November, gunpowder, something.
Yeah, maybe you can check with the moose watch on the.
So November 5th?
Okay,
Meanwhile,
Because I think that's an important piece of it, is that we have more use of the parking lot here.
yeah, I mean, we can be flexible, but let's pick a date for now,
Yes.
pencil it in,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, done that. Okay,
And the Earth Day is still just 120 yarder. Right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's what we already submitted that. So it was 120 yarder. And then, okay, so that would leave us 4. That would leave 2. That's, so we have 3 more.
Fortunately, I think we can handle a lot of the, I mean, just having the 20 cubic yard because we're in better shape than we used to. be,
Yes.
right?
yeah,
So if we do it, just for you folks to be aware, if we do it in November, then that's probably going to be the only dumpster day that we have in the year.
Yeah, but we'd
Yes,
like to
that's
do
what
a
we-
bigger one, yeah.
that's what we were saying.
Okay,
Yeah, instead of 2 smaller ones, one bigger one.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, and in the meantime, people could always dump it into creeks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Back roads and maybe a Mickey's garden.
It is why.
You're gonna see violence on this. No cleaning, no dumping, no littering. But you can call the public services and have a major big item, multi-item picked up for free. And you can also have 15 bags in your trash, or if you can bag anything that will fit into a big garbage bag and then have, schedule it with the public services. That's how you can get rid of your stuff sooner.
So you include children and pets, we're saying.
You could,
Yeah.
20 yards for 120 yards for Earth Day is not a lot.
That's what we've got. Because, these are expensive dumpsters and I guess we're only allocated a certain amount that.
So is it?
But some of the stuff that the encampments are gonna be picking up are gonna go straight to the dump. They're not coming here.
And I kind of,
They're not coming here. Maybe you have small, so.
So what we've been doing
I think
cleanup,
2 of them would be good. Both of them, or you can have something good.
Well, we did a 20-yard last year. It was just a 20-yard in April, and for the most part, it fit pretty well, except there are a few things left over on the side, but.
Well, people come with a big stuff.
no, that's not what we do on the Earth Day pickups, that's trash from around the neighborhoods and stuff.
Okay.
So for those days, my experience has been that generally I get like a trunk full of trash. Hopefully that doesn't leak in my car next time. Ugh. But I actually take care of at least some of that by putting it in my own trash can and then bringing it here. So it's not a massive amount. It's not like, going around picking up because we can't pick up mattresses and stuff like
And
that.
that's what SOS is for, and they have some of their own places.
Yeah, so I think it was fine last time. Does that answer your question?
Well,
Yeah, I heard there was.
Yeah, but we're also-
Community dumpster that everybody will have.
Oh, that's a different thing.
That's a different thing.
And then we'll have more.
Yes.
And that's just for that thing.
A lot.
Yeah. Mhm. All right, anything else on number 1 on our agenda? Okay, second thing on the agenda, discussing expanding our cleanup efforts and priorities for 2023. What would people like to do? to really expand our cleanup efforts.
I have a suggestion.
Terry,
I think we all need to do the adopted drains around here because they're not being taken care of and they're just awful. So if we could all just decide that there's 2 or 3 in our neighborhood that are ours to take care of, that would be such a blessing because nobody's taking care of them and they're getting completely overrun with trash and soot and stuff. So you can't even just pick up the trash. You've got to take a broom or a shovel or something to shovel the stuff away just for the water to run. And that's really getting to be a problem in neighborhoods. So I really hope we can ask people to make a pledge even to adopt a drain, do it in a, in a fun way with a couple of neighbors or whatever, but to maybe decide, these are my drains and these are my drains, and so that we actually know which ones are being taken care of and which ones aren't, because if you really pay attention, they are not being monitored. And it's really, water just rushes around some of them when the water's running.
So you're talking about drain, I
Storm drain.
storm drains,
Yeah.
so,
there's rays on the road.
okay, but we can't lift up the
No,
drains.
Yeah, you just say put off the road.
But they have the grates, so sometimes the grates have so much garbage that they get locked, and then they get so much soot and mud and stuff that there's no way to open it, so you have to really take a shovel on the top of it to get it. I've done it to many, so I mean, I'm already doing that, but I really see so many that are.
How would you suggest we get the word out?
That would be part of the cleanup, right?
Yeah, I mean, table in
The
that.
regular, every Saturday.
Yeah, and we can make a,
Have the litter groups do that, clean out.
Yeah.
Adopting, we only now to go to the range.
If you say so, I mean, they're not all here. Yeah, but, but the garbage runs to the, I mean, if garbage goes there, then it goes to our, into our so.
so you think we should make a little poster for adoption storm
They
drain?
come on the website, but we don't, I mean, they're in the sign. It says adopted drain.
Yeah, but maybe if we made more of a thing though.
So what we could do is to provide some flat kinds of shovels.
Yes.
That would be necessary, that people could take with them, so that on the neighborhood cleanup day, that would be something that could be highlighted.
Cause I don't have anything with me usually and
Right.
so I've done it separate.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Just so small, because it wouldn't take much, just small, just something flat that would keep it.
Because it
So
helps,
add
it helps with
people,
flooding.
on the third Saturday, if they see a storm drain,
Well, maybe that's what they want to do for their cleanup.
Right.
look for the storm drains.
Although in some ways it also makes sense, if you're cleaning up an area, you might as well do the drains as well, and so we want to.
Yeah.
There is another program called something like Drains to the Bay, and where they've stenciled pictures of birds and stuff on the drains so that people remember not to put like oil
Yeah,
down into the drains and plastics and stuff.
oh, that's another thing. I really love Kim's very graphic picture of all the cigarette butts in the fish that he's done. And I wouldn't mind actually having more of those posters from that.
There are some important things that happen with plastic.
Okay, so that's one priority is the storm drains. The priority I'd like to do is really get the schools on board with cleaning up their properties, cleaning up around their schools and getting the kids involved.
Respectfully, I feel like we say that at every meeting and we haven't gotten
Well,
anywhere.
because, like, if it's a priority, and fortunately, I've met a couple people from the Board of Education and on the school board. And they said they can put me in touch with some principals, and you have some contacts too. But I know it's something that I keep saying, but maybe making a more concerted.
So I'm going to be volunteering in Sheldon Elementary School for the month of May, doing science teaching in their classrooms. And that is a time where I will be able to get a feel of the lay of the land. My feeling from having talked to the sixth grade teacher there is that they are so overwhelmed right now that they cannot do any science, let alone this kind of thing, which of course would be lovely. But the idea of how to get something the community wants into schools is incredibly, incredibly difficult. Because they have so many competing demands, they have such, small amounts of money, time, they're very short of teachers right now. I do think that this is something that is, I can get a sense of where the Sheldon is, because that is right at one of our major schools in the area. But I just guess I'm saying, I wouldn't hold out too much hope. When I was a teacher and we would have community groups say, you should do blah, 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 I'm like, where does this fit in my curriculum? And it wouldn't be that I didn't like it. It would just be that I don't have time to do that stuff as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to be depressing about it.
No, the point is just getting people to notice the litter that's around them.
And I mean, schools
Nearby.
do that on their actual school grounds, and most schools have some kind of cleanup programs and detention where you have to go and pick up trash and that kind of thing.
See, I hate that. I hate
Yeah.
that.
I understand that, that's nothing we can do about.
Well,
that.
we could make it for credit rather than detention.
Well, we can't do that.
No, but we could promote.
We could, but I don't know how we promote that. That's
Let's
my
go
problem.
to the school board meeting.
So that meetings have minimal effect on what actually happens in classrooms.
Wow.
It's, it's a Byzantine system. So let me get a sense of how things are going when I do this thing in April. I can talk to Lucy about it, but I'm just telling you, this is the sense that I'm getting, that there is a sort of level of desperation. We're continuing to push, in a variety of ways to try and get more school, West Contra Costa Unified School District community connections. And that's something I believe that your office is doing something about, right, or at least meeting about.
Yeah,
Would you be able to talk to that briefly?
yeah, I think that you connecting with West Contra Costa Unified. So we're able to communicate with the superintendent and occasionally speak with principals in terms of like promoting something for a curriculum. I've worked in programs, not with Supervisor Joya's office, where we've introduced like artwork, or we've worked on like challenges in the federal level and had to, promote it in the district. And we've contacted superintendents and principals and let them know like, hey, if you can share this with some of your students, it's a great opportunity. And I think there's been times where teachers have used that as like extra credit. So that's one strategy I've thought about. And I know Serge is here, and we've talked about doing something similar with the triangle and getting artwork for the murals. So in terms of doing something like cleanup, I'm sure there's a way that we can kind of, introduce it that way. If there's a program that we have, or there's something that the subcommittee or the green team or some other organization is doing in terms of cleanup, if it's like structured, we can definitely sell that as a pitch.
We have a student, and then that I've signed off on their sheet
Right.
for hours of
Credit.
for credit.
Yeah,
So that does seem like doable.
yeah.
Can I say something? Monica here. If we can't, it's kind of complicated to do the credit and get the volunteer and all that. And that's probably a longer term goal because of all the obstacles. But as a person who has cleaned up around De Anza, it's very messy. So could I, as a citizen, say maybe we could try to just contact the school, and if they could put a receptacle out there and talk to the students about not putting the importance of not, because there's a creek right nearby and the bus stop area too. And maybe they have to figure out, like, they can't take their food on the bus, because I know that from being a bus ride passenger. So, they have to figure out what to do with their food before they get on the bus. But it's continuously every time really messy. So if we could just in the more short frame kind of address that problem with the school, and Edgar, you might know a way we could get a hold of them to sort of or I could, as a neighbor, write a note myself to the principal, but I don't really want to be a complainer. But anyway,
That's a a great idea, Monica, and it seems really difficult to get through to these principals, but we could try. And
Edgar, do you have any ideas on how we could, as you know, just to try to say that there's just one area, there's two areas that just filled with litter, just,
Yeah, I mean.
and they're abutting the street on common, you know, parts where people walk to. So it's not like it is school property, but it does kind of, you know, it's right near the street, so.
Right, I think that's usually the way that we can send over an inquiry, email the principal and let them know if it becomes a community concern. That's when we have a little bit more leverage in terms of getting, the situation addressed. Is if I, for example, I can send the principal an email and say, hey, several community members have reached out about a increase in litter on this part of your campus. My understanding that this is not part of the school district's property, but it's affecting the community. Is there any way that you can, make your, kind of have your maintenance crew address it, right? And that's kind of one way, or I'm sure that there's a way that we can frame it where we can become more collaborative with the school district and ask them like, hey, there's an increase in litter here. We do have a community group that cleans up. If there's any way that you can, clean up this area, or at least have, even teachers or faculty come out during the Saturday cleanups and help.
That would be great.
Right, and not that they can very well say no, right?
No,
Because
no. Well, they, like you said, they have a lot to do though.
They don't have any, they have that, right?
Right.
But that's something that we can definitely try to do.
Could the county potentially put some trash cans there?
Yeah, or ask the students. Yeah.
No, and I
Okay,
do
how
have
do we
an
do that?
update that I want to give you
Right,
folks,
right.
but I can do it later on the trash can with the Palo Dam Road.
Okay.
I can do that after this is finished. I can do that.
Because that would be
Yeah.
a pretty simple fix.
Yeah, so we don't have trash cans.
Yeah, okay.
And that's why the county contracts is rural public services.
Hmm,
So unfortunately, we don't have that.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have a few thoughts that I'd like to add in here. One is that I don't really know about PTAs, what power they have, but excuse me, that's a group that we could maybe get some interest, get some parents involved. That'd be helpful. The next thing is, amongst all my other notes here, is that where the kids are hanging out, like that tea shop and so forth. We should probably talk to that guy there, or maybe I'll put signs there about the cleanups and getting, getting some of those people involved, and also about not throwing the trash down, because a lot of the trash we see is straws and stuff from that. If we can find out where the teens are hanging out,
Yeah,
and the students hanging out, that would be a good place to put our information. And then the other one is, I don't know what the name of Sparkles after school.
reach out.
Reach out, yeah, and plug in with them and try to get some students to talk to some students. Maybe we can do a presentation there or something like that, try to get a little meeting there where we talk to some students about how do we get into this school, what do they involve, how can we get them into this? Because we're not having much luck with this other approach of trying to like.
Those kids, they're from Richmond, they're not very many of them are particularly local, just FYI.
Oh, really?
But even so.
But even so,
They hang out.
But the flip side of that is they are gonna be working with us when we finally get our mural thing off the ground. They're our prime labor force. So there's an easy in there. And then speaking of reach out mode, the chamber mixer is there tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Sparkles?
Yeah.
The Sparkles, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, where you going?
Hopefully.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's another part of the puzzle too, is the businesses and which ones have, people. Or else are selling stuff that people end up on the ground. Like, I don't know that any fast food places are in the Chamber of Commerce, but those are the people who we really kind of need to get through the education campaign, because their customers, we don't know the place.
Well, and for Toko Tea, True, the manager there, manager slash kind of quasi owner is, he's up for that kind of stuff.
You think like you would be, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
True. TRIEU, the manager at Toko Tea.
So I'm just thinking the idea, we're going to do some roundabout because our current approach is trying to get principals to sign on, so those in the Oregon. We need to find a
Well,
way to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, my equivalent of this conversation with Edgar was, echoes what Susan was saying. It's really hard to work from the bottom up or just approaching the schools directly. It's your idea of a top-down approach, if you will, is, I don't know if it helps if you had a piece of paper with 30 green team signatures on it.
Well, it's worked in the past just because the amount of folks we will have to address, right? If you're going from the bottom up. And usually when you have a good, from experience, whenever you have a good relationship with the superintendent, they will send it out to, what you want is the teachers that have the best teachers that have that relationship with their student, that they can easily, push this information out and get results, right? And what we've seen, when I was working in Congress, we had the art challenge, and this is part of this context, where we had this art challenge every year, and students can participate, provide their artwork, and then that will go to DC, and then they'll get awarded if they win or not. And it was always pulling teeth. So what we found out was that working from the bottom up, that being creating good relationships with the superintendent, and then he will connect us with the principals, and then we knew, well, after having that relationship with the principals and knowing the principals, they knew their teachers best, and they knew the teachers, their art teachers. They knew which teachers had programs or had projects that were like end of the year projects, and they were able to create that art challenge as part of their curriculum.
Right.
And so it was just about they know their teachers the best and how their school works the best, and kind of shooting in the dark with certain teachers, certain schools, it just became too difficult. So I found to be best to do that, go with the superintendents, then go with the principals, and the principals know their teachers best. And then we would create just a list of teachers who we've interacted with every year. And we kind of created that context.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I've had principals come to me and say, could you incorporate blah, blah, blah into
Yeah.
the same stuff? I think that you already do something similar. I'm like, oh, nice idea. And then I'm much more likely to do it. If I get a flyer in my box, I'm like,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah,
I think that would be, and also the superintendent will know which principals are more
Right.
up for it as well, because there is a pretty much of a crisis of principals right now where they can't find people.
Right.
And they're terribly overworked, and because there aren't enough teachers, that principals are frequently just subbing for classes and not even able to do their own jobs. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty desperate situation, actually.
So,
And-
what did you say you're willing to do, your
I mean,
communication?
I can definitely bridge that communication with the schools, but I would just have something that's like a structured plan of how this is going to work. Because I don't, I can send them an email and say, hey, do you have any teachers or principals who are willing to distribute this information? But if I don't have any information to distribute, then there's not really much I can work with.
So
That's something that we need to work on.
Right, well, the more tangible the plan it is, the less likely it is to get lost. It's something, going from you to Edgar to a nice bureaucrat to a couple of other bureaucrats. By the time it gets to a teacher, it's like, oh, call these people if you're interested in a relationship or something. But if it's real tight and it just takes it verbatim all the way.
Right.
So that
through the
sounds like
levels.
another meeting that we need to have to figure out, what is it that we would like, what would we like our message to be? How could we make this so that it links in with various standards or whatever, to make it more appealing than possible for teachers at various different grade levels.
Sorry, are you talking then about art
Yeah.
or trash?
we're still on the track.
Are you still on track?
Okay, we're gonna probably.
Yeah, and we can, in the information piece, we could obviously. We don't need to have too many communications in that at all.
Did you guys have?
Can I ask about Chris's suggestion about the PTA? I haven't been in the PTA in a long, long time, so I'm trying to go back to my memory, but I thought they had speakers or visitors in some meetings. So I don't know if it would be a chance for someone in the group to go to the meeting and see, and you could just promise it would be brief, just a hi and tell what we do, and we'd love to have the kids on board, and, it's just something so satisfying about cleaning up, because it's an easy win, and you're part of the community, and we have fun, and, just.
Great idea.
And I didn't mean to be complaining about that area. I just thought there was an easy fix. That's all, like the trash cans.
Well, I complain about that area all the time.
Okay.
Because it's an ongoing problem, and we need to find a solution. So that could be a priority for 2023. Is
Okay.
even just targeting Deanza High School and seeing what we could do about getting a trash can there maybe,
Well,
or.
there is a single trash can there that has kind of a storied history that I'm not entirely clear on, but I think it's the mini market people, the mini mall people put the trash can there. But then, if I'm getting the story right, I'm probably not. Then they thought, well, if we put a trash can there, then the county or someone will come and get it. And the trash can fills up, and no one gets it. So.
Is that the one that she did propose? There was one.
It's next to the part, one of the driveways, there's two driveways, but off to the side, closer to the church. Wait,
They had one that was going to start a fire.
yeah.
Okay, any other suggestions about priority for cleanup or?
You clean up, we can come to hot stuff.
Well, I just want to finish up the thing.
I think that the thing about the trash can downtown is something we want to solve this year, and I know April has an update on that, so.
Want to get back?
Yeah. So, for just a quick recap, so, the chamber folks, as well as other folks from this group, reached out to try to get the issue addressed of the trash bins that are on San Pablo Dam Road. And those are the ones that are like, they have a bin inside, or a replaceable bin. There's one right here in front of the hardware, and they kind of go along San Pablo Dam Road. And what's been happening is that the house folks are sometimes removing the removable plastic bin that's inside the trash can. And when that happens, people dump trash inside, but it kind of just spreads, right? And what happens is that Republic Services, who has to contract with the county to service the trash cans and trash bins, can't clean up because it's all over the place. So the community reached out to Supervisor Joy's office to see what can public works do to get that trash bin replaced, or because it was my understanding, and this is what it actually is, that the county does not have any trash bins and trash cans that's serviced through Republic Services. So it was how did we get these trash cans, and what do we need to do to get them replaced? So we had our public works meeting today, which is a monthly meeting that we have with their director, their assistant director, and their staff, and Supervisor John Joy's office. This was one of the first items on the agenda. And we found out that those trash bins are not from the county. Those trash bins, ironically, they were actually bought by the chamber. So those are owned by the chamber. So their responsibility is the chamber's responsibility to maintain those, not the county's. And that's an agreement that they had when they created it. So the agreement was, we're getting the details, but our understanding in the county was that there's an agreement when we purchased these, that the chamber would take responsibility. We would find a one-time grant, and we would also provide the contract with public services, but someone would have to take responsibility. And the chamber was the one who said, we will take responsibility to maintain these if something happens. So that leads us to where we're at now. So the chamber is I'm gonna have to have this discussion with Nicole. And I'm also part of the chamber. So with the different chamber council members to discuss, what are the next steps of getting these trash bins replaced or finding something that works. Because essentially it's the county can't do anything about it.
So if they replace it, then the public services will pick it up.
Yes,
But what's to prevent the same thing from happening before? Because it's removable like.
it's
liners,
removable, right? So
And those are stolen.
So it'll be to get something completely different,
Oh,
but my very not handyman mind will be like, just drill it to the floor, but I don't know if that's something you can do. Yeah, because then you can't dump it. So that's a discussion that I think what the public works was alluding to is that they're gonna have to put some money up front and buy something else that works, that doesn't create this mess. Because they had, again, the county bought it, paid for it, but it was a one-time purchase through a grant. And the only agreement that the county took up in terms of responsibility was to maintain that contract with public services, because they're the ones who paid it.
oh, the chamber pays?
No, the county pays for getting the trash bin service.
And what kind of quantity of bins are we talking about over there, and how many of them are?
I mean,
Unfunctional.
from my understanding, it's all of them, right, Mickey? Like,
Yeah, but how many?
how many do they have? I don't know. I don't know how many.
About four.
There's a- yeah.
There's a lot of space between the one in Walgreens, and then you have to walk a pretty good distance to get to the.
Yeah.
Only like 4 on each side.
And there's one over by Gigante, yeah. What's that one called?
So
The
less
red
than
one,
10.
the Mexican
Definitely
restaurant.
less than
Oh, yeah,
10.
definitely less
El
than 10.
Chambulo?
No, Calian.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one right there that's always used, the Walgreens, everything used, those are two big hot ones.
It's one of
I
that.
would say there's probably less than maybe 6.
There's
It's one of
It's up there.
one at Ace Hardware is completely not there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we brought across the street at the, what's it called?
Yeah.
I think so, the one they moved
Yeah.
2 years
One
ago.
that was
But if we just get the regular dumpster that they use for trash collection, because that's easier for them to empty, then maybe we can get them heated or something, and then just have a way of hooking up to the, post so people can't steal them. I think that, I mean, 'cause a lot of times what we do is we look for the store, and we see dumpster trash anyway, it's always locked, we can't get into it, so, we've got trash, so if we just saw a dumpster walking down the street, a trash can type, I would put trash into it. I know that.
Dumpsters open to the public.
No, I didn't really mean a dumpster, I mean like the kind that you have in your house,
There are these, I just.
Yeah, right, bin, I guess.
So the thing is that the ones which are sort of industrial strength, which is what we would need, are somewhere between $900 and $600.
Wow.
And the plastic ones are less than that, but I would imagine the plastic ones are probably not going to be sturdy enough. So if you're thinking 10 of those, you're thinking of a grant of, $9,000. So I'm just letting us all sense of what we're talking about in terms of money.
Right.
If the county's, able to come up with that, then we have to be clear that there'll be a regular pickup
Right.
for that.
And I think,
Unhoused people need somewhere to put their garbage that is
Right.
legal. So.
So.
I think that, and I'm commenting a lot right now, and this is supposed to be you guys, but, I think that like, these are just my thoughts, because I'm wearing these different hats, is that two things should happen from you folks. I suggest you guys can do whatever you folks want. There should be a meeting as the MAC, with Tom, since he's the chair. You guys have this new information. Hey, Tom, this is what's going on. We think that there should be something better. And then obviously, like, we will all have this discussion, meeting the MAC with including the subcommittee and Supervisor Joyce's office, of like, okay, this is the information that we got. The responsibility for this is the chamber. Because that's at the end of the day, they had that agreement that they would take responsibility for it. So Thomas is a part of the chamber as well. So the next month in April, we're gonna have our monthly meeting. And either Thomas or I will share this because we're both council members.
Okay.
So I can talk to Thomas, or if you folks want to be there and present with Thomas, because Thomas gives either he or I give the update from the MAC. So either one of you folks can come part of representing the MAC and give this update with Thomas. Thomas might want to do it. You guys can figure that out. And then make that direct ask to the chamber of like, you folks, it's our understanding that you folks signed an agreement
Yeah.
of responsibility.
So if the chamber never did that, we wouldn't have any garbage cans on the street.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, so there was, yeah,
Yeah.
right, that, yes, right, because that's what that agreement, yeah, that's that
So
agreement,
we would not, okay.
Right.
I wonder why they made that agreement in the first place, because.
we needed to.
right, because
We
they
need
did the
trash
trash.
cans and the county would not provide that for us in the unincorporated area.
Well, we can't, there's no budget for it, right, so that's why the only way that we were able to get the trash cans was through a grant.
What
It's
about
one-time.
Does Clean California have any?
Yeah,
I'm sure they have grants, but not saying that we can't apply for another grant,
Yeah.
but that's how we got that money for those trash cans was through a grant.
Yeah.
And grant money isn't money that it's not sustainable, right? It is a dollar amount and usually ask for a project that you can quickly have a turnaround, I mean. And same thing with the definition rolling wood, where we need to update these drain out inlets. And in order to secure grant money, the folks who are providing the money are asking someone needs to take responsibility for this. Just in case something bad happens, you folks are responsible for fixing it. That's the only way, that's common with a lot of grants. And in this case, because the county doesn't have any doesn't have money for this in the budget, they ask for someone else to take responsibility just in case, like.
Has the commerce, the chamber, has the chamber been, have they been putting any money at all of their budget into this or not?
They just found out that it's
That
their
it's their
responsibility.
responsibility.
Well, they haven't found out yet because I haven't told them,
Okay.
because I just found out about this today.
Okay.
So as soon as I tell that, because Nicole, the president was the one who asked me to get it to, but now, I'm gonna come back and I'm be like, Nicole, we're actually responsible for this, right? Like
Do
we're.
you have a budget at all?
So we do have a budget, but it's mine. The treasurer, the ones that knows the best. But from my perception of how it looks, is that I think that we don't have that much money in there. So that's a conversation again, but that's a responsibility of the chamber to figure out,
Okay.
right? Like the chamber does their fundraisers. They also have dues. They have sources of revenue. And that's why I'm wearing different hats right now, but that's why I'm just saying like, this is something that they have to crack their head for, and trying to figure out. That's their responsibility. So that's just something that you folks now know, like, okay, this is not the county's responsibility. They only have the contract with Republic Services for them to service it. If it's not serviceable, and they need a new dumpster, then whoever's responsible for it, which now we find out the chamber has to put a new trash bin there.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting though, the way you say it, we now find out it's the chamber. The chamber had signed some kind of contract.
Right.
I mean,
So-
it's not like the chamber just found out, oh, we're stuck with this. The chamber
They had
puts themselves.
So I didn't know either.
So that's what we were talking about. I was talking to John about on Monday, was because when we found out, of course we were surprised, right? We're like, oh, so the chamber, like, and it was more of like, oh, so this probably was before Nicole.
Yeah.
It before Nicole's time, so that's why she doesn't know about it. So someone who's been in the chamber for some time should remember that that was an agreement that they had to vote on.
I think so.
Yeah, so that's a conversation. I'll send an email to Nicole because we just found out. And I'll let her know that this is a discussion item I'm gonna share next month during our monthly meeting. And that's something that we'll have to figure out.
Can
But
I ask a question on another topic if we're done with this?
Okay,
So was one of the ideas to figure out how our subcommittee can benefit, the green team can benefit from California clean measure so that, do we, try to advocate for PSA announcements down San Pablo Dam Road? Gosh, things like that, or, you had indicated getting the trash cans might not work because the long-term expectations. But if the, chamber wanted to apply, could we kind of bring the information to them so that, I don't know, I just trying to think of things that would, how can we work with this California clean to our advantage?
I'm just looking at the website right now.
so I'm in touch with the point person who's involved with the Clean California Community Days, and she's based in Oakland, and she said, I said, maybe we have a meeting with her sometime to see what we can do, because I was also very interested in PSAs and that concept. And so if we want to set up a meeting, you want to come?
Yeah, sure, I mean, we could,
Yeah, we can-
we found out one of the problems is that the trash can situation downtown, we had such a mess. And then we like super much money for that, like pitch it to them like that.
Well, I just found the
Okay.
website for local grants in Clean California
Yeah, and?
and found the website. The goals of the Clean California local grant program are to reduce the amount of waste and debris within public rights of way, enhance, rehabilitate, restore, and install measures to beautify and improve public spaces. So I absolutely think it just absolutely sounds like it's a roundabout way of saying, oh, yeah, we'll like give you grant trash cans. I mean, it is money for old road in a sense.
Yeah, so maybe we can set up an appointment
So
and
that's
talk to her, right? What is it that we can, what can we do?
Yeah, I think the businesses deserve to have trash cans in front of their businesses,
Right, yeah.
along the town, because, I mean, they pay rent and a lot of people actually will go into the stores and ask if they can use their trash, because there's no place to put it.
Yeah,
Right.
And they seem like they worked for a long time before it started to become a problem. The trash cans were there for quite some time. And, I mean, maybe somebody was taking care of the problem, so you couldn't see it, but it's obviously.
The situation like that is though, things that go fine, and then one day, a couple of jerks go down and they break a bunch of them at once, so it's not like they slowly wear out and have to be replaced one by one, it's like. Usually, somebody comes out and starts doing vandalism, and that's where the problem kicks in, and that becomes an all-at-once problem.
I wonder if they could be insured.
All right, well,
Surprised.
maybe next month or something, we can think about, meeting with or maybe after, I think. One of these times soon, we can talk to this person at Clean California and really get on their radar. She loves us. She loves the green team.
Oh, yeah.
She said, we're like the green team. Yeah, because she said she hasn't seen this much happening in other places in the state. So I think they want to be supportive of our efforts, so.
I do have a question, though, we talk about having a meeting with them, it sounds like, if we want to make a pitch, we have a chamber in it, but are we talking about meeting with the green team with them, or of the ESMAC subcommittee?
Yeah, that's a good question, I think probably the green team. So I'll talk to you guys soon.
One thing you're gonna want to look at is nail down grant deadlines.
Yeah,
Right.
and we do have a fiscal sponsor, the green team does have a fiscal sponsor if we want to use them as Citizens for Greener Community, said that they will be our fiscal sponsor. They would take, small commission for receiving the grant and administering.
You don't want to start doing your homework about how that works
Yeah.
soon, because you can either say, yeah, green team with a fiscal sponsor of them,
Mhm.
or in our case, we just did a grant proposal to the city of Richmond. And the path of less resistance was just to say that we are this fiscal sponsor. We're a project of theirs, but so just pretend that you're citizens for Green El Sobrante, because otherwise there's more legal like things, and you gotta have a letter, a sponsorship letter, and maybe possibly do more bookkeeping and stuff.
So instead of having them fiscally sponsor us, have them be part of the package when we go.
Yeah, instead of just pretend you're a part, you're them, basically, and then so the check is actually written to them. It has to be written to them anyway.
So then we should probably have a meeting. with
So
them.
April 28th by 5 p.m. is the project application deadline.
Oh, that's soon.
Wow.
And so we might be able to do that for next. I doubt we could do it this year. It also says that these grants are for underserved communities, and I'm not sure if all program funds will benefit underserved communities. I mean, the underserved community that these will serve is our unhoused neighbors, right? To some extent. But
Yeah.
does El Sobrante count as underserved?
Yeah, I think that might be.
That's a good question. I think, I forget. When we were, I don't know, but I remember that when we were walking around. For like a parks working group,
Right.
do you remember that, John?
We
We were not. No, right. So that's, from my understanding, that's what I'm gonna go off of right now, right? But I'll have to check in, double check with John, but I remember John saying that we're not.
All those things that you said was for understood.
We have to talk to
The
them.
grant.
Let's just have a meeting. Let's just have a
We
meeting.
need to have a.
You know, is that a legal term for California? Does everyone have the same definition of it, or?
Well, I think that, I don't think everyone has the same, they probably have what they define as
Criteria,
under,
yeah.
and their criteria, and it might be based off the demographics.
Yeah.
So demographics are like median income. So I would check there, but, that's a good question, and I think that's worth, meeting with John, whether it's a phone call or something, I can certainly facilitate that.
I
To get a
certainly
better
start
understanding.
there, though, those are the people, with all
Yeah.
respect to John, those are the people that really count for that. And-
Right.
And we found with our Richmond little Love Your Block grant, that they have a person staffing in that particular little program that was really like eager to help, because they actually had an under amount of applicants.
Yeah, we got one.
We got
We got one.
I was gonna say, underserved populations, that whole corridor of San Paulo down road, not just El Levante. People from Richmond come not only within this part of Richmond, but even on the other side of the 80 come to the Dollar Tree, and they use all of those businesses. So I think there is a way to open that scope. I think John's looking at obviously something, a different project, but I think that is very unique. All the restaurants, bars, definitely, it
Right.
does not represent El Sobrante solely. So I think there's a way that there could be wiggle room around that.
And you know what's, and this is just kind of like, I'm wearing different hats now. You know what's the beauty of like, the group here is that you guys aren't just the MAC, right? Like Mickey, you're part of the green team. The green team doesn't fall under John, right? So the green team is a community organization, and that sounds like it's a state-run program. So as the green team, you can always contact your state representative and then have them like, hey, we want to apply for this grant. What is defined as underserved? The green team doesn't only do El Sobrante, it does like these different, Richmond, these other cities that are nearby. Like, can we apply through it that way? Right? And that's just, using the different resources that you have, because you guys aren't just the MAC, but be sure that if you do contact a different representative, you don't do it on behalf of the MAC, because that will be violating the policies of the MAC. So you'll want to make sure that you're there representing as the green team.
Right.
So that's just something,
Yeah.
it's learning how to, if we're limited through Supervisor Joy's office, you have other representatives and you folks wear different hats that you can always have.
They're just wiggling around until we find a way to make it happen.
Right.
Even if it takes all year.
Okay, so why don't we get on to the second, the discussion about beautification? So did you wanna lead this discussion?
Before we get started, can you remind me of your?
Why I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I appreciate that, because it's been a really, really long day. So the reason I am here is we are proceeding with the art part of our Triangle Works effort. Triangle Works, as most of you probably vaguely know, is about vitalizing the area rather than former adoptees in any shape or form. And so there's going to be the facilities there at the old adoption site doing stuff for the community. But our group called Triangle Works, we're about not just that single facility, but the broader area around the triangle. And one pilot project we've got going is to do a mural at the site of the old high school, where there's a big yellow retaining wall. And I guess I'm just here to kind of publicize it, because when we actually do it, it's going to be a community paint day. And so there's a professional muralist or two are kind of leading it. And we're kind of targeting about 20 people to be there. And we hope it's the first mural of more to come. And what's really kind of invigorated us in the last 3 weeks or so was Sohaila Bannon, the new city council person who's an ally of ours, alerting us about the Love Your Block grant. Now, we already had the mural plan going because we had permission from the owners and we raised some money, and the chamber donated a little bit of money and brought us a muralist. But the Richmond grant is only for Richmond. You have to use it within Richmond. And I thought, well, this wall won't work. That's all El Sobrante, right? And someone said, no, Fran Way is actually Richmond. And I looked at the map, and sure enough, Fran Way goes down.
We're everywhere.
So where it ended up, I thought it was a long shot, but I showed the map to the coordinator. And I said, it looks like the Fran Way portion of it is Richmond. And she was kind of skeptical at first, but then looked at it and said, okay, yeah, you can apply, but only for the Fran Way side. So that all that is kind of an aside, except it goes to the point of what Edgar was saying about your organization and ours. They cover, kind of think of 94803, and Richmond Schmishmond, or it's the birds don't care, the trash doesn't care, the Pepper Creek doesn't care. And so we can kind of play both funding ends and to the community as a whole. And then our vision, our general goals is the vitalization of the triangle, and artwork, public art is a great and kind of very safe way of doing that. So I guess I just wanted to put that kind of on your radar.
When do you see it starting?
Well, that depends. If we turn in the grant proposal on Friday, and we won't know till the end of the month if we got that chunk of money. But regardless, even if we don't get it, we have a little bit of money to do something. So we're going to be starting planning or restarting planning this month, one way or the other. And then when we know how big our budget is, that's going to push us. How much more money do we need to raise? Well, we were going to be happy if we end up with a budget of about 9,000.
And how much you have? And
right now we have 1,500, and we're waiting on the other 7,000 from the city.
Is that just for paint? Or what is that?
It's it's basically for paint, a little bit of money for the mural, like a stipend, not like like an honorary. And another thing that happened is the chamber had put in a little bit of money to it, but actually we're sort of giving the money back for a while, and never mind, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, why, they'll be back, or we'll be back, but we have a new muralist on board, and I would give you, I think I brought it. I have an information sheet about it, I think, yeah. I do. Except then some of the names have changed, so I'll just pass this around. And then we're gonna be taking this around to businesses in the community to raise awareness of it and to try to get businesses to donate stuff, including paint supplies and things like that.
Yeah, I have a question. Is Evan still working with you? And what about his icon on the electric idea that you probably have like various places around town?
Kevin Tyler,
Yeah.
yeah, not in particular. He was around before.
He was ever once for a while there, and then he just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, he's faded out. I think you had a.
I didn't know if you had an image of what the mural might look like, or have you not hit design yet?
Well, we have an image, okay, we were trying to collect art from the community.
Yeah.
And so we worked with the Reach Out Kids, and they drew things. But our vision for the design and what we got approval for from Planning Justice and the property owner was the themes are supposed to be about kind of natural history and like Native American themes. And what we have so far from the kids is sort of like kid art, you know? And so what we were hoping to do was kick it into higher gear, go on Nextdoor and Facebook and put the word out for local artists to give more sophisticated art. And then that got kind of, our phased approach got kind of in limbo with the muralist. And so now we have a new muralist. We're kind of starting over a bit with the design. We have one design from the original muralist that we may or may not use some.
One thing, people from the chamber was talking to me and she seemed very lit up about a design. Something to do with
Yeah.
wings, with wings, and take pictures so that you could take, you could stand in front of it and have your picture taken with angel wings
Yeah.
or bat wings.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that?
That was-
still happening?
That could still happen. That's part of the original design that we kind of like.
Sorry, backing up, you said the image was, what was the image? You said, did I misunderstand? Did you say Native American or native meaning like plants and
Well, actually both.
both?
So actually, I work in natural resources and biology. So one thing I put in there is it needs to be native and needs to be biologically accurate. So, you know, no elephants or no.
So has anyone reached out to the Native American community?
Well, we're
With
trying.
knowledge?
Yeah, there's Planning Justice has a good, who's kind of one of our, who's our like main sponsor. They have a connection with this, how do you say, the Sotorie Land Trust, who's done some artwork at some of their places, and so they're kind of guiding that. So we would like to actually get more of that if people have ideas. We haven't done, our outreach for that has been through Planning Justice, and then Planning Justice is going to be approving the final design, as will the property owner, but that's not going to be very hard. Let's just think that's going to be very hard.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about, not appropriating someone's culture, but having them part of that.
Oh, yeah.
Dialogue earlier on,
Well,
and then of
absolutely.
course, yeah.
Yeah,
When we slap something on it, that's.
yeah.
Or I have to come back.
And there may be some interesting traffic to navigate. The chamber put up, without checking with us, put up a thing on Nextdoor a while ago saying, we're gonna bring art to the community. And do some murals, and most people like the idea, but there's some opposition to it. They said, no, this isn't Berkeley. So, you know, there's gonna be. Nextdoor is this crazy. You can't even.
While we're on the subject of search, do you want to do an information table at our birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah, We had to do that.
Yeah, it'd be kind of humble, you know, but we definitely have like this.
Not like any of us are really great shapes.
No, but even this and talking about, just the interest in that.
Well, our game plan had been to do the same thing, we made this for the Sabrontic stroll, and we were actually gonna have tables set up. Yeah, we tried to hook you for that, but tables set up with paper, and then people could come in and do a great work of art. And basically, it got rained out, that wasn't gonna be something you could do in that weather. Yeah,
When I did the grant for, with Stephanie over in Richmond, Love Your Block,
Uh-huh.
I was also doing a lot of research on where else I can get money.
Hmm.
And I found out that Home Depot actually has a grant program as well. They won't give you cash, which is similar to Love Love, but they'll give you supplies. So I don't know your name, but if I get your email information, I could do the research information for you to see if it's even applicable.
Yeah.
And if it is, because I thought when I did most of it, just as an inquiry, it was very simple. It's gonna be the same information you're using with Stephanie, you can just basically cut and paste. But before I leave, if I get your email address, I could do
Yeah, yeah.
research over the weekend and let you know if it's even doable. I don't want to send you in a direction that's gonna waste time, so.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. So you already got one and did one?
Yeah, yeah. It was,
Not-
yeah.
Was it worth it?
Oh, yeah, did you get it? No, from not from Home Depot, from,
Yeah, from Stephanie.
yeah,
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done a great one.
And she wanted me to spend more. She wanted me to,
That was for COSIX, for national.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would do a GoFundMe. I'd be happy to give some money.
and
Well,
again,
yeah, a lot of people say that, and we're actually trying, I mean, we have, we have a nonprofit thing, and we have these things, whatever they're called,
And so people can easily donate on that.
we think.
Because that's too much for all people want.
Well, no, I mean,
I will check.
it's work.
Okay, great.
how much are you asking from Stephanie, roughly?
We ended up about 7,000.
Okay, yeah, because she wanted, I remember when I did mine, she wanted to give more money. And
Yeah.
I'm frugal in my life, so it was hard for me to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
a grant.
I know.
So, yeah, it's probably a good possibility because she had so much money left over to she was trying to get it more.
Yeah, they extended the deadline
Yeah,
because they didn't have.
there's no bites.
Didn't have enough applicants, so.
Right, Mike, did you have some straw in designs to push out? To, most people aren't going to stop and do an entire work of art for you on a straw by.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just an idea to put out some possibilities.
Yeah.
As well
Great.
as well as some kind of paper.
It's just the sort of entry.
And here,
Yeah.
yeah. Interesting. Is that from this?
Yeah, I just,
Well, I'm a little bit glad I'm not the one who wrote that, but still.
It sounds really fun. It sounds really good. I kind of love the idea. It's gonna be in your hands, right?
Yeah, so you all know, you all recognize this
Oh, yeah,
corner, miss.
right.
How tall is that wall that's not?
Very tall. Is it taller than just standard printer?
No,
Yeah.
I think that's where they do it.
No, that's the only place I I think it's about shoulder height, my shoulder height, 5 feet. So it's pretty cute. I think it's double check that. Yeah, it worked for a kid.
Yeah. My picture of it is it's not tall enough to do that.
Yeah.
For a kid it is,
Yeah.
but maybe not for you or me.
But I mean, the kids, we can just do it for kids even, that'd be fun, but I know, I want the picture thing.
Yeah. Two elements of it that are probably gonna be there is we already have the artwork, a tribute to Adachi's, the Adachi history. And then also to Maurice Abraham, who had an idea about making the triangle area arts district. Yeah.
The green team.
Yes.
I think it's fine.
That's good.
Oh, I don't have the keys.
Bernie gave it to me. I have
Remember you guys were here before I was here. You guys were here before I was here.
No, so we don't have a key.
Did you guys get a key?
No, I haven't.
I didn't know we were supposed to get it.
File it.
When you guys check in, do you guys get a key?
Materials, in there you'll find, we made, a few of us helped with one of the last work was actually getting. Kind of moved it out, for it, focus
Oh,
on.
yeah, remember that's slavery, gave, putting it to file.
So, thank you so much for doing, that is the best that we needed for beautification, because it's too ugly right now.
It is ugly, and unfortunately,
So that will be a
There's
huge benefit.
more,
I mean, almost
yeah.
anything for one, it would be better than the
yeah,
other one.
yeah.
Right.
And that's just the site that we happen to arrange
Right.
with the property owners, there's other walls. So if you think of other walls, and ones that are, are muralist, and you can muralize anything. Are the walls closer to your place? On,
That-
AC and kind of near where Domino's Pizza and where Sue's
Oh, that's
Kitchen is.
huge, that corrugated.
The corrugated.
Yes, that's massive.
And that is not, that's a little tougher to
It's
muralize.
much-
There's that, and then there's the one going, next to the Murray School.
The side of like, the smoke shop at Appian and San Pablo Dam Road, it's a big,
Oh, yeah.
clear wall there.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, these are getting. It's,
Street from Jack in the Box, more or less.
yeah, it's that building, but they have a blank wall. They do.
Well, to get it out by Sue's Kitchen.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's really.
What, that wall?
So, so I did a really quick survey around the area, and yes, as Stephen said, it's a good segue from this. There are larger projects, this would be the first large project that you guys are doing. And, then there is also not just, walls, but there's also potential for doing some landscaping, which would be another major project along the hillside between Amend and Apian Way, outside, including outside Murphy and Deanza's schools. That whole area in the summer is just scrubby rubbish. So that's just an idea for other kinds of beautification. The idea of sculptures. Has anyone been out to Point Malati? You would
Yeah.
love it, especially under the influence. Because they have sculptures there from Burning Man, which have actually been exhibited at the Smithsonian.
Oh, wow.
They are stunning. Where is it? This is Point Malati.
What part of people?
So if you go out to Point Malati, you instead of going across the bridge, you go out that way. You keep going along this rutty road over the top into no man's land.
Yeah.
There's this weird little harbor with
So,
this little community.
yeah.
And there are these ravishing sculptures, one of which is like this massive gramophone kind of speaker.
All the gold.
No, yes, the old but this is much more grand. And there are beautiful things there. They're seen by very few people. I don't know if there's some way that we could maybe have one come to El Sobrante. Because
Well-
they're quite substantial sculptures. And
And
there are
we
really
bought
some
part,
stories.
there's,
Where?
at the triangle, there's a triangle, you know, where there's a funny, like,
Yeah.
cliff. There's a little island there.
Yeah, they could stand a sculpture there,
Mhm.
and then another place that could host a sculpture would be, you know, right outside the library, there's some place that one could be put.
Mhm.
So, you know, maybe we bring in sculptures, maybe we put out a call for sculptures from the local community. But sculpture is something that I just love the idea of.
When the shit gets going,
Ramona, you and I would-
there's gonna be a big attraction of artists, because a big part of the whole thing of vitalizing the triangles, to bring that artists. and build
That'd be a great
community
project.
there.
Right,
So there's some very good synergies there.
You know, it'd be cool, I don't know, I'd like to see, you know, some like flags or banners, but maybe local flags along San Pablo Dam that are pretty art with some maybe messages on them. As well, inspirational messages on.
And that kind of gets back to what, the reason I asked about that.
Maybe start with.
Behind the, you know, things like that in pretty art.
right.
Basically, I mean, This guy, you gotta actually show up.
Right, no, but my point was that when I was first talking to him, he was talking about coming up with a color scheme, a color scheme and icons that are repeated throughout town. That goes with the idea of a banner. It goes, but you know, instead of just doing each mural kind of its own thing, the idea of having them coordinated somehow. Like, we don't have town colors or whatever, but I mean, that's the kind of idea. He was
Well, we need,
talking
yeah,
about.
we have a tentative logo for Triangle Works, but I'm not that sold on it. It's a triangle with like, it's like people in it.
And
The green one.
the green one at the end there, Castorat's, but it'd be nice to have a welcome to El Sobrante sign.
Yeah,
You know, with
and we
And
made a
Elm
bunch
Park Hall.
of these and all different, Canoli has a printing thing, and these are like decals.
So we had those for the barrels and they did.
Yeah.
that's pretty colors.
It didn't say on yours either.
I mean, there's also some, I mean, just to quickly do an overview. There are quite a lot of small type projects, including the banners, including painting or repainting the utility boxes, which right now have some pretty creative artwork on them right now, very honest. That could be
Real.
And so it's.
Funny, you know, art is so subjective.
Well, I don't know. I agree with you.
Ones that are in Berkeley or.
Yeah. Anyway, we could possibly, you know, have little competitions out there, yeah, signs for the utility boxes, that seems like a easy thing to do.
That's a good idea.
Street sign poles to look like lickable, like candy cane, but that's just like weird. Recollection. Yeah. We could, there could be, artwork for banners and things, and we've got a lot of chain link fences that go across streets. And, making artwork for banners or something to hang on those might be worthwhile.
Someone takes those down periodically. We want to see them. I mean, they'll take it with me because they hang there, they're one.
Just general ideas, and then we talked about some of the larger projects, and I did find we need some kind of solicitation and approval process. And obviously this is a much bigger thing to talk about, but that was just kind of as I was walking around and then incorporating what I've been hearing tonight. I just went and did a Google search on small town artwork. And so there's all sorts of fun things already out there that can give us inspiration. I mean, literally small town artworks. Right? And so some people have some really cool stuff, hideous stuff out there. And yeah, but I mean, there's places where we can get inspiration. I mean, yeah.
I like that even Alex.
So, yeah. Anyway, I mean, so because this is a new direction for us to be thinking about artwork, landscaping, that kind of thing. Miranda, by the way, does, you guys have almost all, I'm sure, driven onto Highway 4, onto 24.
Yeah.
And all of that area is taken care of by volunteers, all of the spring bulbs, for example, that's all volunteer work, yes. So wherever there's.
Flower scaping, that's an interesting idea. That's even that way, but. Yeah.
He plants coffee.
Yeah, I've been watching, got lots of copies that came up this year. Really good. How's that?
Yeah, maybe we can get more by putting them through a photocopier.
That sign, but I can't go Ranch Road, on Dam Road.
Oh, the welcome to El Sobrante. Of course.
Well, sometimes they get pulled down, I have to say that one, but number two is there a way to get up above the bush? Who's in charge of that? So somebody we could just ask, we just at least raise it up.
I bet that's a Chamber of Commerce thing.
I think it is a chamber, I think they.
See, that
Yeah, agree to.
Rotary is just in reference to
Do
rotary.
you know that, Edgar, who's in charge of that sign that says welcome to El Sobrante when you come?
I don't know.
Rotary.
I think the Rotary.
It's.
Yeah, and an Eagle Scout, that was an Eagle Scout project.
But just you have to be higher, I mean, you know, we, Ramon and I were gonna like do a gorilla thing on it, one time, we couldn't get it on.
Even I'm there, and I went there with,
the chamber guy, and I think he's the one who finished it off.
I think it was the chamber.
Yeah, it's chamber,
It's just down so low that, I mean, it would be my first choice for design, number one, but number two, if you're gonna have design, it to be at least.
Well, and it's one that don't work out also.
yeah, they're identical.
There's a.
Are they identical?
Edward
Oh,
Hall.
yeah, you were the bike shop.
It's
I never noticed it.
So like a swing bike shop.
Yeah.
Across from the.
Oh, that's really Spiker, not the peddler.
Yeah.
Yeah, across it.
It's under,
The Masonic,
it's by there.
Masonic Lodge, and then real estate, and then it's the FEMA.
It says welcome down to Monday.
Yeah, it is just like what
I
you.
never noticed that.
And John Joy said he would help us to get some signage when you come into town as well, right? But we were talking about when you come in from, your baby area there.
I put the sign there.
Dam Road.
I didn't ask any permission, I'm sorry.
This is being recorded.
But, yeah, maybe we could get 3 signs that look similar, or, plan on coordinating that a little better. That'd be kind of.
And more interesting.
Well,
You know,
one-
it's so, I was gonna say on the Arinda, the 24th that she was talking about, it is so neat because my doctor's office is there. So every time I go, they announce like pancake, breakfast, then they concert in the park. And it would just be so great if we had one wall where we could just look for announcements, for our community.
Yeah.
Great idea.
You know, that, when you're on Dam Road coming in, right near, Fort Hall, there's a little, it's like a 4-posted with a nice fancy top, it looks like.
Yeah, it's a tie.
That seems like something that should be done something with, I mean, it's a, like a good thought, idea, it has white gel or something. When you come into town, it's that little, it's a 4-post, those tie, by the church and,
Yeah, I see that. The Thai, shop, I mean, yeah,
yeah, I don't know. if it's-
And that's what we kind of explored into, it's someone,
yeah, that's a religious thing.
Where is it?
That's a religious thing, or
Yeah.
I thought it was just it's like,
the one that never roof and the top.
Yeah.
It's kind of.
when you first come in, you have to El Portal, where they.
It's very
Like JD Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way.
Oh, that.
There's a little strip mall thing there.
Yeah.
Just be noticed the occasion where it's not, it's like.
So somebody tried, though, somebody tried, yeah. Now, Fonte, beautiful by doing that.
So it sounds like we've got loads of ideas, how we can't do all of this tonight, so that we need to, what are our next steps? Because, we need to pull this together. Otherwise,
Yeah.
So,
Well, one easy catalyst will be, assuming that the mural thing doesn't crash and burn, is that'll be an easy place, if you have artistic energy, but you don't have your own thing, come and help us with ours, so we can, we'll keep you right.
And also the least log off of, like, right.
Have you started having like a fundraiser of some sort, like the pancake breakfast or something?
I mean, but the other way to think about this, which is.
One of the 20 events.
Is like stuck,
What?
they're not,
We know, they're recommending.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're updated.
Okay. What I was gonna just say though is a resource, if you're getting excited about art, and then we don't have that many people to do it, we may be a little bit, not far, but a little bit ahead of you on just, we're trying to attract artists, and a couple of our key people are artists, and they're contributing art to the mural. And we'll be in the art mindset with the mural. So don't, if you're intimidated by this new direction, you've got enough work already.
I'm not
And-
that excited.
Yeah.
And well, good, but you're not alone, I guess, in town, is what I was saying, so let's, pool our limited energies. Yeah.
And the same if we need to have a meeting that talks about that kind of thing with the chamber, because they got the city-wide interest, and you guys have somewhat of one, and we certainly do.
Maybe you want to talk offline, shortly and figure out what our next steps might be, or if we can take ideas from the group. I'm actually getting tired of that.
Yeah, let's wrap up the meetings.
So you need to-
So.
For the year are the events and getting the trash down downtown.
I've taken pretty voluminous notes through all of this, so they're draft form, but I've shared them already with you and with Edgar. So if you want to take a swipe at making them better, that'd be great.
Okay.
But I think I should have to remove him. I said if you
Sounds good. Any other comments from the?
Thank you. That's all. It's going hard.
It said, you know, I think it continue the discussion at the next meeting as well, so whenever we know that, but. That's a big question about that, having,
How we make them feel.
yeah, having. Okay, but this one where just discussing it, we talking about tonight, the next one we talked about. Hold on, I think it's a meeting, I think we are kind of wrapping up here. Do you have any suggestions? Lou?
So today we have discussed the overview of the beautification so far. We talked about dumps today. We talked about expanding our cleanup efforts going forward with both the training program and expanding how we're going to get to schools that get them to clean up their areas. We then talked about trash cans downtown. We want to schedule a downtown meeting with a map about trash cans, and then we started talking about art and beautification. And we got a presentation from Serge about proceeding with the arts part of the triangle works and where that all is in a mural. We talked about small, medium, and larger projects, and so I think that we have two separate pieces of this. We've got the cleanup piece, we've got the art piece. I think we need to have a separate meeting about the art piece to ascertain, not just from us, but we need to advertise that a bit more to find out what the community is interested in, because this needs to be a community-wide kind of thing. And that could be both landscaping stuff and it could be artwork in a variety of ways. Does this sound like a reasonable summary?
Yes. Yeah, except I did. He's saying about they trying to round it out way to get to the school.
Right. Right.
And it reminds me of something that
And I put in a lot more detail in here.
Okay, the thing we didn't talk about though is that, we got a report the last ESMAC about the sheriff's office is doing more proactive, going after dumpers.
Well, that is true.
I would love to connect with them, and find out what exactly that means and how we can facilitate that for them. And one of the things I would like to see is maybe they can do some sting operations when you see 3 cheap. I'll haul your junk away free. Maybe we can have the cop.
I think I can possibly answer that, because from the presentation that was given by the sheriff's department, and make sure I'm saying this right. That if you do see someone actively dumping, you call the sheriff's department right away. Call the sheriff's department if you see the big dumps of things, and they actually go and try and figure out who that was, and they're fairly proactive about it already.
Yeah.
They are working on it quite hard.
They actually have a task force.
They have a task force on it, so that they're really. Well, I mean, I think the way we work with them is we have to report it.
Looks like the meeting was adjourned.
Is it? Okay.
I don't know, it's not online anymore.
No, it is.
Or it is-
Yeah.
Oh, we should just,
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. In touch.
Yes.
So then you know, public.
Sure. Okay, so thank you, everybody, for coming. Come and get some flyers. You want to have some extras?
Yeah.
Can you set these out at the
Yeah, I mean,
meeting?